Okay. Apparently, I can manage my thing through. I can manage the stream settings through OBS now. So that's a new thing that happened.
I wouldn't know because, I don't do the streaming part of OBS.
Yeah, like usually you have to have the YouTube studio open, and now with the updates to OBS, it's like linked into YouTube, like Streamlabs OBS.
Oh, nice.
So now it gives me a little better uh customization.
Speaking of the whole Streamlabs OBS thing, I do find it amusing that Logitech basically paid $100 million for what was effectively just free software for the most part with some tweaks.
Well, yeah. And I have a story on that too. Because Streamlabs not doing so good.
Well, you want to pull that up first since we're already talking about it.
Sure. Let's see if I can find it. Okay. We actually need to work on a proper opening someday though. Smoother video, better text.
Look, once we consistently get like 5 viewers, that's when we
Yeah.
need to pivot.
Yeah. Streamlabs drops OBS from its app name after plagiarism complaints. So, this is like part of it. So, Streamlabs has kind of come under fire recently for. Let me go find the exact quote real quick. Because this is like them going with Streamlabs OBS. So originally when Streamlabs did their version of OBS, they asked the OBS people could they use it.
And they said no.
Yeah, and they just went ahead and did it anyways. Which I always thought was weird because like I didn't know this, so whenever I use Streamlabs OBS, I just assumed the OBS people was working with it. So realistically, if it ever came out of it, it would be like you're definitely within a reasonable like if people would not have known that from like an article or something that you weren't affiliated with OBS, they would definitely assume that you were like you had OBS partnership or approval of that name.
Yeah, which just because I understand how open source works, I realize they were a separate thing from the start, but I didn't actually realize that they basically stole the name after they were told not to use it.
Yeah, and so the original story is that let's see, they were being accused of plagiarism for rival companies. A bunch of streamers who are featured as the big money cows for them have been like, "You need to fix this now, or we're gonna remove support from you." Right?
Yeah, I even saw where like on a website for a new thing they were trying to do, they basically copy pasted the competitor's website.
Yeah, and they've also Streamlabs has a really bad habit of, and a lot of these companies do it. So let's say I should probably switch that. So let's say we set up a Streamlabs page for this stream, right? And then I say something edgy and get the stream banned from Streamlabs monetization. And people donated $10,000 on that stream. Streamlabs is basically going to play dumb with that money and steal it from you.
Yeah, which I mean, if it were 10 grand, it would be worth suing their ass over.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they're like the money they're gonna be like, well, you were banned, so you don't get a payout, and it's like that's not how that works.
Now, technically, if they had written their user agreement right, they could say, look, on any stream you get banned, any donations get refunded. At least that would be somewhat reasonable.
Yeah.
But you don't just get to fucking keep it.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, yeah, Streamlabs is kind of getting their ass raked on the coals. And for like to say they've obeyed, legally they're fine, but it's one of those things where everyone's looking at you in the room like you're kind of being a dick. Like you're not breaking the letter of the law, but you're breaking the spirit of the law. So,
Well, except for the part where they tried to file a trademark with OBS in the name, that actually is illegal. Like you can't just make trademarks of things you don't own.
well, and for
maybe
terms
not
to other people.
illegal, but
Yeah,
the problem is you'd have to prove damages, and since OBS is an open source project with like no leadership, and it would be very hard to show any kind of damages. But
yeah, it's definitely an interesting thing to happen. You know, it kind of popped right before we had our show, and I was like, oh, that's fun. You know, because I use Streamlabs OBS. Now I probably won't.
yeah, I've never bothered because I didn't do streaming. I just did recording, so regular old OBS did perfect for me.
Yeah, like what I'm probably gonna do now is just do regular OBS with like having Twitch in the background to monitor my follows or something.
And I will point out that I remember your Streamlabs like screwing up a bunch and you bitching about it compared to regular OBS.
Oh yeah, I mean I don't really know if that was that rig or if it was OBS at this point, but yeah, I did have a lot of problems. I mean, cause it would freeze. What was another problem it would have? Oh yeah, like it started out as like a free thing, and then they monetized all of the cool free features.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, to the point where like, cause they originally you could have themes and all these other cool little features that make your stream better, and then one by one they started locking them behind paywalls.
You know, the interesting thing with that is someone that, say, understood how, let's say, the first feature they locked away works, could have just left and programmed it into OBS.
Yeah, I mean, even then, like, you could realistically, like, the themes they sell, you could pirate those pretty fucking easily.
Well, I can't imagine how difficult it is. I mean, or how easy it is, maybe I should put it that way, to make themes. Like, I've screwed around with it a little bit, and I can see how it can be done if you just have, like, some basic Photoshop skills.
Well, not all of us have basic Photoshop skills, Whiskey.
Don't give me that shit. I know you do.
No, I have subpar taught myself Photoshop skills.
Yeah, I consider that basic.
No, it's like, I would consider that less than basic.
Look, you know enough to get the job done. You might take a while to do it, but you can do it. I've seen what you did for, like, Discord avatars and shit. Or that original YouTube banner you made that you lost.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Streamlabs just seems to be kind of a dick. I noticed a lot of people kind of chuckling about it just because their abbreviation is slobs.
Yeah, and they kind of are being a little slobbish by copying off of everybody. Yeah, probably not the best acronym, right? It's just kind of funny to see like a streaming platform, like a monetization platform doing this. Like, As if they couldn't get any more sleazy and do anything else that would really make them lose more public opinion.
See, the correct name, if they were going to, steal the OBS portion to begin with, would have named it been something along the lines of best operating OBS. So you end up with boobs. You can just have the tagline, everyone loves boobs.
Booba. I mean, let's see, if I was gonna name a streaming platform, maybe Always Live or Only Live.
Only Live.
Yeah. Only Live.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Do some,
this reminds me
if you're gonna rip off of somebody, you should do it well, right?
This
Live
reminds me
Hub.
of how, for the longest time, when people talked about Mixer, I thought it was some new dating app. Just because of the name.
Yeah, that's it. And I said that as soon as they changed it, because originally it was, what was it called? Fuck, it was called something before Mixer. And I can't remember it because it was so unoriginal. I can't remember. It was called something before that. And then when they changed it to Mixer, I'm like, well, that's a really dumb name because it sounds like a dating app.
Yeah, and I genuinely thought that's what it was when people were talking about it in our.
Like, how do you parse that to gameplay?
I'm like, wait. Why are people streaming to this dating app? I'm confused.
Well, because Whiskey, you don't understand. Now, you got speed date while you fucking play Counter-Strike, right? That's where all the good top-tier waifus are.
No, not Counter-Strike. You're behind the times. Clearly,
Like, if you're not 6 feet, if you're not if you're not 6'5", have the CEO of one of the Fortune 500 companies, you have all the time in the world for an actual relationship, and you're not Diamond and Counter-Strike, I just don't even want to talk to you. You're not on my radar.
I mean, that describes me to a T, except for everything.
You also gotta be a doctor. You gotta be something other than white, or maybe a mix. Yeah. You know the rules. Yeah, I found it funny because I read a story not too long ago where it was life coaches for women are just quitting the industry because the expectations are too high. You have a life coach and ask a woman, what's okay, all right, what's your expectations? And she'll be like, well, he's gotta be 6'5", he's gotta be rich, he's gotta be good looking, he's gotta have his life in order. And the life coach is like, hun, you're hitting the top 1% with one of those things. How many people do you really think you have left after I put in all of them?
You've just listed 5 people in the country.
Yeah.
And they ain't gonna give a shit about you. See, that's what a lot of people don't, specifically a lot of women in that situation don't get.
Well, men too. Men too.
Well, I'm keeping it on topic. But yeah, men do fall into this. If you want the 1% of the 1%, you have to be there yourself.
Yeah.
If you're not, don't expect it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, as a man who's not 1%, you can get a 1% woman. But still, you're going to have to work at it, right?
Yeah,
you're gonna
at least pay a lot for that night.
Yeah, you're going to have to see a lot coming out of you every time. A lot more than's going in her.
I was going to make a joke, but you beat me to it. Well, while we're on the topic of stealing things, unless you have another article about Streamlabs.
No, they're pretty shallow story, pretty much. Yeah, pretty shallow story. I mean, still waiting for more. I guess they're gonna change their name. But I mean, To me, it's really not that big of a thing. It's just kind of like salad to what would be otherwise a juicier story.
So, if you'll look over at my stream, I got one for you that I think you'll find entertaining. Because we've talked about NFTs before, and we're on the subject of people, plagiarizing. There we go. Someone right-clicked every NFT in the heist of the century.
What the fuck? Wow.
Yeah. So, this was released. Where's the date on the article? I think it should be today.
What the fuck?
And it says, hours ago, a website appeared online with the express purpose of hosting a nearly 20 terabyte torrent. That's terabytes, folks. The big boys of digital data. No, that would be petabytes, but still. Containing every NFT available through the Ethereum and Solana blockchains.
Wow, the NFT
Every
bay.
single
Oh,
one.
the NFT bay.
Yeah. The NFT bay, whose name and overall design riff on the iconic torrent database, the Pirate Bay, is the work of one Jeffrey Huntsley, an Australian software and DevOps engineer. In a frequently asked question document written up for annoying reporters like me, Huntley describes the NFT bay as an educational art project designed to teach the public about what NFTs are and aren't, in the hopes that fewer folks get swindled by the technology's innumerable grifters.
What a fucking
And he's
Chad.
not wrong.
What a fucking Giga Chad, man.
Like what we went over last time about how, what was it, Ubisoft trying to get into NFTs?
Yeah.
He's
EA
right.
too.
Yeah, there's a lot of people grifting on that to try and make money in the short term.
And Epic's opening a shop for all the NFT games now.
Yeah.
Because it makes Winnie the Pooh real happy when he gets his funny money.
But again, just, right click, save target as.
Yeah, I just love the whole, well, we're speculating on asset. Well, what happens if everyone has the fucking asset? Then it's not very... Then you can speculate on how the asset won't gather any fucking... Any, what's the word? Any actual,
value.
Yeah. Trying to think of the other...
He says, fundamentally, I hope people learn to understand what people are buying when purchasing NFT art right now is nothing more than directions on how to access or download an image. Huntley explained, the image is not stored on the blockchain, and the majority of images I've seen are hosted on Web 2.0 storage, which is likely to end up as 404, meaning the NFT has even less value. Meaning, eventually it'll just get taken down from the hosting site and, then it'll be gone. So you're literally buying something that will disappear.
You're buying a speculative asset that has a finite... It's literally like buying a jug of milk and speculating on the assets of the milk. On the value of the milk.
Yeah, and not the value of milk in general, the value of that specific jug of milk.
Yeah. What a fucking scam.
Huntley's main inspiration for the NFT bay was Pauline Puntsdown, the drag persona of Australian satirist Simon Hunt, who in the past parodied controversial politician Pauline Hanson due to Hanson's right-wing policies. Sometimes the wrong things get airtime, and the only way to cut right through to the core is with art. I like how he's just playing this as artistic expression.
And he's hitting them in a way, I'm sure he's probably lefty, to be honest, with the way he was playing that, but like, the lefties can't even really say anything about it. Not even then, lefties hate all of this shit for the most part. But like he's hitting it with an argument they can't argue because he's like, yeah, I was inspired by this other guy who made fun of right-wing people. And they're like, oh yeah, it is high art now that I think about it because he's one of the good guys. And it's like, yeah.
So NFTs or non-fungible tokens have been the talk of the town over the last year, rapidly accruing supporters even as the technology's reputation tanked. And while most of the backlash is confined to social media jokes about stealing, NFTs, by way of right-clicking and saving the usually terrible artwork associated with the uh, blockchain minted, and thus incredibly harmful to the environment tokens, major figures in the gaming industry have also taken notice. Last month, Steam banned games that had anything to do with NFTs or cryptocurrency. Good job, Steam. Because too many people are trying to cash in on by using it to sell bullshit when that's not what they're actually for. Prompting 26 developers to send Valve what my colleague Luke aptly described as a very sad letter, whining about the company's decision. So yeah, the only valuable as tools for money laundering, tax evasion, and greater fool investment fraud. No, it does have legitimate uses. It's just no one's fucking using it for that. It's kind of like if you have a bunch of kids and there's a stick. Well, maybe not a stick, but like a baseball bat, let's say. You could use that bat to play baseball. But what are the odds one of them picks it up and does something incredibly stupid with it and possibly hurts someone? I would say it's pretty high, and that's kind of what's going on here. It's not that the NFTs are bad in and of themselves, it's just the way people are using them are stupid. But yeah, I like this because you were laughing before that you could just right click on it and save it, and this mad lad did.
Yeah.
Not to one, but all of them.
It's so stupid too. It's like, oh my god, I've got this unique picture that I could sell. It's like, but that, okay, even in a world where I can't just right click your thing, do you think that when you bought a random monkey picture for $50 that you're gonna come to me 10 years later and be like, hey, I've got this limited edition monkey picture, you want to buy it for $1,000? No. No, I don't.
Email me an image so I can see what I'm buying.
Yeah. Yeah, it just, even then, it's so stupid.
It reminds me of back in the day when websites would disable right click. And so what I'd do is I would left click and highlight the image, and then you could go into the code view and you could just copy the URL for the image.
Oh, and dear God.
Then some of them got wise to that and you couldn't highlight anymore. So you know what I'd do?
Just type it in.
No, even better. Because this was before Google was so easy. This was like Web 1.0. I would empty all of my internet temp files so there's nothing more. Manually enter the web address so that web page was the only web page that loaded up. Go into my temp files. Copy said picture from my temp files to somewhere else.
Damn.
Yeah, that's like back in the day you could get like short video files and audio clips and stuff that way.
That's like
Web 1.0.
That's like when downloading shit through VLC. That's great.
Yeah, but it's a built-in feature because the web was so slow. Like all of that got cached for a time. Like there was a short period I think you could have you could actually do that to YouTube videos. If I remember right, it was a very short period.
Man, have you heard about, speaking of all this stuff, right? Have you heard about the new crypto coin that's gaining popularity that's mined off of CPUs?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't I don't think that's going to be as much of a problem.
Yeah, it's probably not. I mean,
Well, the reason is unless you're getting server CPUs to do it with, it's one CPU per motherboard and per memory and power supply.
well, it,
Unlike video cards where you can get motherboards and stick like 4 to 8 of them in one motherboard, depending on your motherboards.
yeah.
So the cost to do it is way higher, and the return on investment currently is basically nothing.
Yeah, I was actually looking into like mining with the old 1070 I had to kind of offset the cost of this. And I was saying you could like mine roughly $60 a month estimated off of a 1070. So I figured the GPU thing, I mean the CPU one probably isn't all that worth it. To see a people with,
Yeah.
I saw a few people with some mines though.
Like the only way it's worth it
So
is if you do it right now, get a bunch of it before it's worth anything, and then cross your fingers that it goes up a lot. And then dump it before it goes down. That's basically the only hope I see a person having for that. And yeah, it's stupid. I mean, at that point, it would be easier to just be like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy $50 and hope it goes up in value.
wow,
Than,
you can still mine off of SSDs now?
yeah, there's a particular kind of cryptocurrency for it. It's not very popular to mine though.
Yeah, I remember there was a thing I was watching a little bit ago where someone's like, "Oh my God, they're limiting the hash rates on cards or something like that. That's really gonna stop them." And then someone's like, "Oh, that's fine. They just mine multiple cards now, or
They
mine multiple
they don't
coins
even
now."
do that. What people don't realize is these larger um, companies that basically do the mining. It's not so much like I said the last stream, the individuals buying it, like trying to get their hands on a couple of cards to mine. It's people buying pallets of them, and those people have the money to throw around to write their own firmware for the card. So it doesn't even matter what mitigations you try to put in place software wise. They just go around it and install their own hardware code. Like that's why when people were saying, "Oh, Nvidia's, trying to stop miners, isn't this great?" And then like inside 2 weeks miners had a firmware patch for it.
Yeah, because I mean, it makes sense that if you're gonna run something that sophisticated and that customized, you're probably gonna have like custom everything, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, some of those big companies are at the point where they're designing their own motherboards for it. Like it you the
In a
average
way.
person can't get around it, but these companies can.
Hey, maybe they can go shift over to making their own PC parts and then just have their own insulated mining community. Go do it.
Well, I say making their own motherboards, really they're just going to other manufacturers that make
Uh,
them, but
yeah, I was hoping.
it's just they give them
Cuz
specifications.
I know realistically it takes like 10, 20, 30, 40 years to put up like an actual manufacturer plant for computer parts and get it working at the capacity where it's actually doing anything.
Yeah, it depends a little on the part you're talking about, but if you're talking about the actual computer chips, yeah, that
Yeah.
that takes a while. Especially if you're doing it at the high end, because like some of the lower end stuff isn't as difficult to set up. I mean, granted, it's not something you or I could do, but it's less complicated, but not a lot of stuff uses it. Which, interestingly enough, a lot of the like chip shortage in stuff like cars isn't the newest, greatest, most bestest stuff. It's older stuff. It actually implies there's a lot more going on than just a shortage, because shortages usually don't affect the older stuff quite like this.
Yeah, it's probably like the Cold War we're going through.
So it's just interesting.
Because
I mean, it doesn't help. There's a record number of cargo ships just stuck off the side of California that can't deliver shit either.
oh, did you hear that they're now starting to get them moving again?
I mean, that's what they reported, and the day they reported it, they had a record number of ships. Like, I think it was one of the agencies in California that's like, oh yeah, no, we're actually making headway, and we have less ships now. And then people checked, and it's like, you have a record number of ships waiting today. Yeah, the problem is over in China, they're not accepting the empties for return. And so, like, the ships aren't taking them back, and we've run out of space for the empty containers. My answer would be phoning the Chinese companies and saying, hey, we're never returning these now. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Problem solved. We'll use them to build cheap housing.
Cheap housing, yeah.
Yeah, cheap housing. You need a shed? Here, take this container. Actually, they work really great for storage sheds. I got a friend that's got
Oh yeah.
one that's, because you can get them up to 40 feet long, but he's got like a 20-foot long one. And yeah, it's a great storage shed.
Yeah, I was watching a few videos on people like modifying them and stuff.
Yeah, in his case, he didn't need to modify it because, you're just packing shit in there.
Yeah.
It's kind of what they're built to do to start with.
Yeah, I was watching people modify them to build them in the homes and shit. I'm just like, it's fucking insane.
I mean, I've gone through the trouble of designing blueprints if I had ever wanted to do that. I may have too much time on my hands some days.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a cool like project, I feel.
Oh, it was. It was kind of interesting researching just the average size of certain things in a house, because you find out a lot of things that you didn't really think about do have standard sizes. Like washers and dryers are all pretty standardized. Even the like bathtubs that look really fancy are oftentimes standardized. Like they're not some custom built in. Just interesting stuff like that.
Well, speaking of China, I did have kind of a story. Let's see. Which is, I'm not gonna go through the whole article because I'm just gonna hit the main points here. Where Intel is like, hey, we want to make more chips. And the government's like, even under Biden, probably shouldn't do that, bro. And they're like, but really? And they're like, yeah, trust us. It's probably not in your best interest.
Yeah, if they're planning to use China for it.
Yeah. Let's see if I can't find the thing here.
What's interesting is I almost want to say it was Arizona, but I think it was Texas. It was one of the two, where TSMC, who makes all the highest end shit, like that's what AMD uses right now, was planning to build a fabrication facility over here. In
Yeah,
I'm
here it is.
pretty sure Arizona or Texas.
Okay. Right here is where it was. But now it seems Intel is going to comply with the government's wishes. This is especially unsurprising given the current CHIPS Act waiting to be passed in Congress. It was originally put forward as the Endless Frontier Act, and then received enough votes to pass through the Senate back in July as a U.S. Innovation and Competition Act. No matter the name, this act will see $52 billion funding go to the research and manufacturing of silicon on U.S. soil. It's been being touted as a way to compete with China, even though it even has some speculating on rules to keep companies involved from accessing the grants. Which is great, you should probably... I mean, I would be like, hey, if you have more than... Well, if you have any Chinese ownership, you can't get the grant.
Yeah. This is probably one of the few instances Biden's done something I agree with.
Yeah, but this isn't Biden, though. This is this is the shadow government.
You know what I mean, though.
This is like that lizard brain of the government that knows China, that's being threatened by China, and now they're retaliating in the worm way.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if there was other shit in this bill that I would vehemently disagree with.
Oh, yeah.
But at least there's this.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those small silver linings, right? And even then, realistically, it's probably going to be fucked some way. Let's be honest, 52 billion is not really that much compared to what America's... Like, what they should have done is they should have not spent all this stupid money elsewhere, and they should have just, like, dropped $1 trillion or something on the technology sector and spread it out away from California.
Yeah, that would have helped too.
Right?
Oh, go ahead.
Because you could have just you could have improved infrastructure, like internet infrastructure all over the Midwest. Right? You could easily have done something about internet monopolies. You just get out of the way, and I know this is the government we're talking about, but get the fuck out of the way.
They're not going to do that because they're supported by these companies.
Yeah, it's just get out of the way. It's I know you guys want to make money, but what's gonna be really bad for your profits if we're all nuked by China.
I mean, that's not wrong.
That's really bad for profits. It's really great for profits having a whole market or maybe two just disappear in the blip of an afternoon.
So, circling back to what I said about adding other bullshit to the same bill, I forget who it was, but I like the idea. You limit them to being no bill may exceed 5 pages.
Yeah.
If it exceeds 5 pages, you've done it wrong.
I think maybe that's a little drastic if you were going to pass something that was actually helpful. But yeah, anything longer than that should be scrutinized forever as long as it takes for you to go through the whole thing, right? Because if you were...
The general idea was that at this point it would probably be better than what we're getting, even if it's not a great solution.
Yeah, I could just imagine having someone someone writing a law who was a software engineer, right? And so he has patch notes for the government, and it's 532 pages of small little fixes, little number adjustments, and it's Jesus fucking Christ, is this thorough?
Honestly, I would probably trust that guy more than the politicians, because he actually read that shit and went over all of it.
Yeah, no, I parsed it twice. It's God damn it.
Yeah.
This is my job.
It genuinely pisses me off when they don't read entire bills and then vote on it.
Oh. Yeah, because, I mean, as much as I hate her, AOC actually was oh yeah, well, we don't even read half the bills we vote on, which is the smartest thing she's ever said. It's funny. uh,
Yeah, broken clocks can be right,
yeah, they're right twice a day. It's true.
but yeah, it's annoying. But I do like this bill at least attempting to loosen China's stranglehold.
Oh man, I hope this chip shortage breaks though. Even having gotten new hardware, it doesn't really like inspire my faith into the market.
Don't worry. Next gen is supposed to be way better than what we got now. Also way more expensive.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, oh my god, guys, it's gonna be so much better, but it's also gonna be 4 times the price and 4 times as hard to get. Oh
Yeah.
jeez, and that's to start off with.
Yeah, see the problem is we aren't getting much of a price to performance increase each year like we were.
Well, no, the problem is that all these companies seem to not realize that we were in what was called a pandemic and economic shutdown for the better part of 2 years. So instead of like going full speed ahead with all your product launches and stuff as soon as you can get them, like realistically, because the way it's going now, it's like, oh yeah, guys, sorry, we're having delays because we can't get the stuff. Not like we noticed that like the economy is fucking up, so maybe we should hold off and just, improve what we got and work on producing what we got. No, we're gonna push forward with the next products that are eventually going to fail, because when the economy collapses and you put a whole new product line of super performance chips out that cost 5 times the price of what anyone's willing to pay, even the fucking miners, everything's gonna fall through the floor. It's just a bubble waiting to pop.
I mean, there's bubbles everywhere at this point.
Yeah, well, I mean, at this point, we're like a fucking cake, right? There's so much air whipped into the batter that by the time you bake the cake, it's going to be full of holes.
I think a souffle is a better analogy because one loud noise and the whole thing just comes
Well,
crashing down.
that's for a big bubble. I mean, like a cake, it's important to get like air into a cake because you want many small bubbles into a cake.
Oh, yeah, but in this case, I think it's to the point where, like, if one bubble pops, the rest are going to start going.
I don't think it'll be that far, but what will happen, I feel, is that there's going to be a bunch of large, like, because it's kind of like the 20% rule. A lot of small bubbles can pop, but if several big bubbles pop at the same time, the cascade from that generally tends to overwhelm the system. And that's what's going to end up happening. And they're going to every company is going to be pushing like brand new products in over a cliff, basically, because when that bubble pops, there's going to be no ground to support them. And then everyone's going to lose a shit ton of money because everyone's like railroading their current new product without actually stopping and checking the environment, checking the economic environment. Like, because if you look around normal people are kind of wondering how the system is still going right now.
Well, yeah, and the thing about these companies is most of them are geared to prioritize short-term gain as opposed to long-term. I mean, their actual financial incentives are geared that way. So, yeah, that's exactly what they will do.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't blame them on some part because, like you said, that's kind of what they do, right? That's their entire point is to make money. But at the same time, at what point do you become a rational human being and you go, ooh, yeah, I mean, we just had literally one of the worst things that could happen economically. Maybe we should hold off on releasing new products and stuff like that, or at least slow it down a little bit,
Well,
right?
but the problem is your competitor might not slow down. And if you get too far behind, you could be fucked.
It's true,
So
but
it's almost a situation where
where
you're
you
damned
can.
if you do, you're damned if you
Yeah,
don't.
it's true too, I guess. Like, you can't really. like you're basically running in a herd right now, and if you want to stop, you're just gonna get ran over by the herd.
Yeah, pretty much. So there's not really a good point at which you can stop unless your opponent like stops and gets trampled first.
Yeah, or unless you're the back of the pack, right? Because then everyone else gets to hit that, and you can just stop before it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
And I mean, God forbid if a war does break out, like an actual war, because all of this is gonna get worse times 10.
Yep. Just imagine though. Your computer and even mine, even though it's not the most up to date, will be considered like really, really luxurious.
Oh, geez, that would just make me cry, right? Because it's like if that happens, it's like that's kind of one of the reasons why I bought this pre-built. I'm not gonna lie, because like I just have this bad feeling, and it could just be a bad feeling, right? Yeah, things could get better, but I just have this bad feeling that we're gonna hit this point where like this is as good as it's gonna get for like PC gaming and
At
like
least for a long time.
yeah, or just like technology in general, and we're gonna hit a straight downward spiral either through war or some other bullshit, and that like you're not gonna be able to buy like a 3070 for what I paid it for. You're gonna have to pay like triple, 4, 5 times the price just for that.
Or like the only thing you're going to be able to get is a much smaller, weaker card
Yeah.
that will still game, it just won't be as good.
Yeah, it's
Like, because with the current tech they've got, making, say, a card like as powerful as the RX 580 that can play most games adequately, I mean, you're talking about a pretty small computer chip. So that it could actually make a lot of sense making something that small. It would suck, but economically it would make sense. And then only those with a ridiculous amount of money could get the good shit.
yeah, that's it's I mean, it's part of the reason why I've drove myself to buy a pre-built in this, because it's like one, to get a hold of the card, and two, because who knows if like a year or two, hell, even just by the end of Biden's presidency, that like a $2,000 computer is going to cost like $10,000 by the time he's done with inflation.
The problem is, once inflation hits a certain level, you're never done with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's well, realistically, historically, inflation almost never rescinds, right? Like you just the only thing that's really going to get you out of quote unquote get you out quote unquote of recession is basically just taking all the regulations off and encouraging people to generate as much money as they possibly can.
Yeah, and you actually have to stop printing the shit.
Yeah, well that too, yeah. But like you
And
have
yeah, you can in theory do it. It's just no government wants to take the steps to do it.
yeah, you basically have to like the government has to take the hit, really. It has to stop being a bitch. It has to go and let people just sell things and buy things and just let the
And
economic
stop giving welfare out to everyone
yeah,
because that's kind of 70% of our federal budget is entitlement programs.
yeah, so I don't know, man. It'll never happen because the government would rather collapse than give up any amount of control. So,
Unfortunately.
because, I mean, you're never going to roll prices back down. So the only way you can really make people better is by giving them more opportunities to give money.
Well, you could get a slow deflation, but you basically have to have an economy that your what you're producing out produces your inflation by a good percent.
Yeah, but even then, that's gonna
So,
be.
as an example, let's just take what the government claims is its ideal rate of inflation, which is 2.5% a year. Um, if you're inflating the currency by 2.5% a year, but you're inflating the real wealth, in other words, everything that exists and standard of living by, like, let's say 10% a year, you actually won't even notice the inflation. It won't be a problem because it's inflating slower than
You're
what's
growing.
actually being produced. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's doable. But you basically have to freeze inflation totally and print no more money and keep building the economy until it gets to a point that it surpasses where we're at and then keeps going afterward. And that's not an easy task, especially because when you cut off all the free money, people will riot.
Oh yeah. I mean, hell, and even more so now because people are rioting over just the most random of bullshit. People are rioting over a court case that has no racial background whatsoever now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, God forbid if the government came out and said, "Well, we're not spending any more money."
Yeah, it's pretty fucked. On the upside, since we're getting a house, if inflation did start climbing, it actually makes the house cheaper.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm glad because we got ours before COVID, and yeah, because the inflation's occurring, it's like, oh, I'm actually glad about this because I've locked in a price and you can't change it on me.
Yeah, now the only downside is if like the market crashes, but if you can still afford the original payment, you're fine.
Yeah.
And since we're not doing any of those balloon payments or anything like that, it's all good.
That, and if the market crashes, I'm sure the bank's gonna have a bigger problem than, me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, because the bank's problem becomes the government's problem. And so the government uses your money to pay the bank.
Yeah, but I would say if it collapses that bad, I would assume the federal government is collapsing with it because that's the only way you would really have a collapse of the bank now.
Well, I mean, you could get what we had in 2008 where banks started to collapse and the government stepped in and was like, no, 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 we can't let this happen.
Even though they were the ones who perpetrated all of it.
Yep. They're the ones that set the laws that basically told the banks, you must give loans to people that you shouldn't be giving loans to. But don't worry, we'll insure it for you.
Well, to be fair, there's pull on both of those sides, right? Because I'm sure they also did predatory loan. I'm sure they did find people that they could. Oh, not all, obviously, but I'm sure there was a few people that were
Well,
like,
yeah, and what actually happened is they'd give them the loan, and let's say, just hypothetically, we'll use small numbers. If the loan was $1,000 and the bank was getting $20 in interest, they would turn around and sell that loan to someone else for $1,010. So they make their money right away, and that someone else takes on the risk.
yeah.
And sometimes they'd sell it for $1,005, and this could happen multiple
Yeah,
times.
because like they told us this whenever we were buying our house, that like, oh yeah, your mortgage is bundled in a package with several other mortgages, and we just sell it to somebody else. Yeah,
Be interesting to see what would happen if that was outlawed. Like, if you loaned money for something, you had to remain the person collecting the loan. You couldn't sell the debt.
yeah. I mean, it is a weird thing. I mean, I understand why it exists, but it's also like, one of the reasons why the system is in the way it is now. Because, I mean, while it's a good idea on paper, it's actually a terrible idea in practice because tomorrow never comes.
There's an interesting method of loaning in some of the Middle Eastern countries because with uh, I'm pretty sure it's Islam. You're not allowed to charge interest.
Yeah, I
Like
think.
it's against their faith. So what the bank does is they don't loan you money. If you want a house, the bank goes, okay, here's what's going to happen. We're going to buy the house, and if you rent it for X amount of years, we'll give you the house.
Yeah, which is, yeah. Which I.
And the interesting thing about that is if something happens, you can just walk away at any time as, the prospective buyer. And then the bank is more likely to actually make sure you're getting a good investment, that you're not paying too much, or that you're buying a house in an area where the value will go up, because you could walk away after that first month and then they could be stuck with a house that they have to sell now.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a big thing in, Abrahamic religions other than Judaism, is not charging interest on loans and, well, obviously houses loans and every other loan.
Yeah, and the way they made their money is from rent, which you would have a rental term that was long enough that they would get more money than what they're paying out for the house, to start with. I don't think that's a terrible method of doing it.
No, I mean, it just requires, like the banks don't want that risk, right? Like,
Well, yeah, and it used to be that like the manager of a particular branch of the bank, like any particular building of the bank you'd go in, could actually make those kind of decisions. But they've gradually changed it so that it's a computer that makes the decisions when you put numbers in, or some guy way up at corporate that makes the policy. And it just doesn't work as well as one on one like we used to do it.
yeah, it does feel like there's a bit of magic involved. It feels like whenever you go for anything financial nowadays, it feels like you fill out a form and a person grabs the forms and then they go behind the curtain and then like a magic spell is cast and then they come out and you either approved or denied.
Yeah, because the people doing it often don't have any idea what actual math or numbers is being done to qualify you or not. They just know the result.
God, it's like,
Now, they might be able to tell you, like, well, your credit score is pretty low, or, other obvious stuff. So, yeah, as opposed to the old days where it's like you could walk into the bank as, say, a farmer and be like, look, I need this amount of money because I need fertilizer, and I'll be able to pay it back with, interest when I get my harvest. And if you've consistently brought in a harvest, the banker would be like, yeah, okay, that's a safe bet, sure. But now if you tried the same kind of logic, a lot of banks are just like, yeah, get out of here.
yeah, I mean, it's just the losing the personality of it all, right?
Well, it's losing the human element is what it is.
When everything's judged by algorithms that are made by humans that don't really understand the weight of the decisions they're quantifying anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I think we've rambled enough.
yeah, what you got?
All right. Give me just a second to switch some tabs around and do some jiggery pokery. Or is it pokery? I can never remember.
Man, I'm so worried that my computer is gonna start stuttering again and shit.
So, this actually kind of goes with what we were talking about with the predatory loan practices and stuff. So this article is titled, "Don't Let Predatory Companies Hide Behind Forced Arbitration." So, you know, all those clauses that say, oh, no, you have to go to arbitration, you can't sue us,
Yeah,
which are kind of bullshit. Like, I don't even see how those are legal.
because you signed to it.
Like, I could see, well, what I mean is, you,
I know the actual act of getting someone to sign over those type of rights should be illegal.
no. What I mean is saying that that is the only way to deal with the situation and you will always abide by said arbiter. No, if you believe it's violating your rights or was illegal in any way, and the arbitration doesn't solve your grievance, you should still be able to take it to court afterwards. Like, I'm not against saying you have to go to arbitration as a first step, right? As
Yeah.
long as the company is willing to pay for it.
But that's not what they're trying to do, though. Like,
Yeah.
like what they're trying to do, what I've seen at least, is that when they do force arbitration, is that you sign over your right to sue, just like a TOS whenever you play the game bullshit,
Yeah.
or they do something like if you take this refund or this item, you can't sue me.
Now, that being said, um, arbitration does not apply at all if the company's done something that's actually like criminally illegal. So it's only for basically financial disputes that they can get away with it, but that's like 90% of contracts. So it says a coalition of military and veterans advocate groups is urging Congress to protect service members from forced arbitration agreements, legal clauses that prevent troops from taking companies that violate their rights to court. I wish they would amend this and just, instead of service members, just say everyone. On the other hand, it does open the door, if they get Congress to go along with this, to come by later and say, hey, you agreed it was wrong if it's done to them. It should be wrong if it's done to anyone. So basically, there was 15 groups here that wrote a letter to Congress, and they're asking for a bill that will outlaw this practice. And it says, such agreements, which are often buried in the fine print of employment, credit card, cell phone, and other contracts, force people to handle a dispute through arbitration, a process that often favors the business, which is very true. And the second a business argues it doesn't benefit us, the answer is, then why do you put it in the contract?
Oh, obviously because they feel like they should keep everything in-house, whiskey, and you should have a personal relationship with your employer, right? And all problems should be dealt in-house before you go seeking extraneous help, right? Not because they're totally going to try to railroad you into doing what's best for the country, like HR.
You mean doing what's best for the company?
Yeah.
But yeah, it says
Oh, that's
forced
a country?
arbitration. Yeah,
Oh, sorry, slip of tongue.
slip of the tongue since we're dealing with military here. Forced arbitration is a one-sided, non-transparent process in which service members have very little chance at achieving a favorable outcome, the groups wrote in their letter. The problem has become particularly acute for reservists and National Guardsmen in recent years as they get called up for active duty more and more, and employers who are upset their employees are stepping away turn to forced arbitration. Basically, they're mad that people are saying, look, I have to go fight for my country, I can't come to work. And the employer's like, no, fuck you.
What did you just say? You don't fight for a country, you work for me. Are you
Yeah,
moonlighting
that's
right now?
basically the attitude.
Yeah. Did I just get you admitting that you are moonlighting? You know that's against state law. What?
Could you imagine if the military turned around and filed charges on some of these individuals for like obstructing military activity or something? I don't know what the actual charge would be.
I could also imagine the military engaging in a 20-year long court case and then having to pull out at the last minute and losing it all too, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, speaking of this, not to sidetrack, but did you hear about how they did like whole military training over in Britain, and the British army like took down all of our recruits down like easily consecutively with no real problem, and they were making fun of
I
the
hadn't
Americans.
heard of that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I was watching a live stream and they were like, "Yeah, your boys are not doing too well. You brought some of them over to Britain and we beat them hard in military drills, like
Well,
every
hang on.
single
So
one."
were they just like new US recruits
No, no,
or
these are like
okay.
no, these are normal military recruits that were
Okay.
brought
Because I
for
was gonna
military
say if they're
games.
newbies that are still going through training and you brought veteran soldiers that beat their ass, then I was gonna say, yeah, it makes sense. But
Yeah, it was an
you know
interest.
what? We fucking need to hire that military guy. He's clearly worth about 27 Marines.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. See, the trick
Like, don't lock him up, bring him in to train people.
what you should do is you should just get a boat, right, and go over to the coast of China, like a really big boat. You maybe an aircraft carrier, right? And then go like, "Hey guys, we have a cool game for you. It's like Squid Game. You'll join the United States Army. We'll give you the proper equipment and stuff, right? And for every Chinese communist you kill, we'll send you home with like a package of steak. Go at it. Watch
The, 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 pro-
overnight.
the problem
Overnight.
is how indoctrinated their people are, though.
They don't care
It's
when they
bad.
see steak. I'd be like, just throw it like, here's steak. It's like you wanna know how quick Chinese fucking doctrine fades in the face of a nice steak? It's over.
That reminds me about how a lot of well, as far as I know, all of the major overseas bases, like no matter what country they're in, they all have like United States based stores.
Yeah.
Like you can be in basically like Egypt effectively or India where they eat really weird stuff, but on a military base,
There's a
it's like
Nike.
McDonald's, there's a Walmart.
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually a big thing whenever I was playing WoW. We had a couple of people that played from military bases, and they were like, "Yeah, I can go like not even like 5 minutes away and go buy a new computer or whatever." And like that's so fucked up.
I mean, when you consider how fucking impressive the logistics for that are, though.
Yeah, I remember when there was a big thing where one guy wasn't allowed to buy GTA on the military base because they told him that, it was against regulations.
Ah, shit.
And it's
It's probably because he was the asshole that kept breaking into the military base
yeah.
and shooting soldiers, and they're like, you know what, we can't encourage
Yeah,
this guy.
I'm not gonna say that we had a camera in your room watching you do all of this, but you should probably face the television screen in a different corner.
Circling back to that ninja, I remember, and since we're talking about GTA, in San Andreas, I used to get the gimp suit because it was all black leather, and it was the closest thing to a ninja costume, and run around with the katana.
What the?
Because like there was no ninja costume other than that in the game.
Did you ask people where was your family?
Not at the time.
Where
No.
where
That meme didn't exist yet.
I will have my revenge.
No, what it constituted was me picking fights with people and then slashing them.
Prepare,
But it was pretty close.
prepare your anus, Quilo.
So it goes on to say some of the stuff is in the fine print. Your employer may have that in their contract, and you might not know until you're faced with it. Yeah, that's part of the problem. People don't read their contracts and then look up at the person and go, yeah, no, I'm not signing this.
Yeah, I was like,
Realistically, if everyone with a cell phone contract collectively went, yeah, all like 10 million of us are canceling unless you remove this from your contract, they'd remove it immediately.
man, I kind of felt like a dick whenever I went to sign the contract to this house, right? Because like, my mom signs the contract right away, right? And then, they give the contract to me. And I sit there for a good, like, 20 minutes reading every page. Yeah, and they're just, I look up and they're, like, staring at me like, the fuck? I'm like, what? I was always taught to read every page of a fucking contract.
Yeah. Like, if there's something weird or crazy in there, I want to know about it.
Yeah, like, how do I know at the very end of the contract, you're like, also, upon request, you must appear on a game, or you must fight to the death against a contestant of our choosing. It's like, whoa. Are they gonna be white? Because maybe.
You know, it was funny talking about tricking people with these agreements. There's a South Park episode where they trick Cartman. I think it's Cartman. They make him think they donated his kidney, and he gets mad and goes to the doctor. He's like, I want you to put this kidney back in me. He's fine, sign this form. He signs it. It was actually the form to take his kidney out and donate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you read every fucking word.
Man, it's so terrible. They just look at you like you're just evil. You're like, you thought I was gonna fuck you, didn't you? It's like, well, you put like a 7-page document in front of my face, generally.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
talking about those home loans that went bust in 08, how many of those do you think people didn't read?
oh yeah, that's exactly either side too, right?
Yeah, where it says, hey, guess what? You're going to pay this really low interest rate, but then it could skyrocket and you might be paying like an extra 30% a month. And you just didn't read it, and you're like, yeah, I can barely afford this $1,000 a month. And then like suddenly it jumps to $1,300 a month after the first couple years.
Yeah, that's another thing I was reading for stuff, like just price jumps and stuff like that. Like, yeah, you gotta be careful of that shit, right? Even when they seem nice and innocent and shit. Like, you don't want sudden surprises poking out at you.
Yeah.
And like, I've been fucked by every game company by contracts that I didn't choose to read. So I'm sure it's fucking gonna read one on a house. like, I'm not gonna read the terms of service on Dark Souls 3, right? I'm gonna thumb through that. But I sure as fucking gonna read the one on a house. Yeah.
You know, that's also something that used to be more personal. If you're signing a contract with any company, you had the option to dispute certain things in the contract and have it changed. Not anymore with these large corporations. They don't give a shit. They have more customers.
Or even then, even if you did, they would just change it for you. Like,
You roboted there.
Oh,
Said even if you did,
even then, if you did, even if you are able to argue that and get it changed, it only happens for you.
yeah.
Like I was watching a thing, because I was watching computer parts stuff, and there was a guy where they were selling some pre-build or something like that. And I think it's Linus had to call in and get the part changed because it was improper or something like that. And they did it for him. And he's like, but that's the bad part, is that they only did it for me. There are other people who are going to get this configuration, and it's not going to get changed like that for them.
Yeah, it's bullshit, you know.
And that's the difference. It's like, yeah, you can, maybe you can get it changed, but it's only for you. And for, at the end of the day, that's all a lot of people care about, right? But it should just be better for everybody.
You know, I wish I had the article. There was this guy who actually read his contract. I think it was with the cable company, and rewrote parts of the contract, signed it, and sent it back because they didn't sign it yet. He sent it back. They didn't read it and signed it. And so when they decided to cancel his contract, he was basically like, okay, I expect you to pay me my cancellation fee. And to which they went, what? Said, yes, I would like my $10,000 cancellation fee, please.
You know, I
To
think
which
that was,
they refused, and he took them to court, and the judge ruled, hey, you signed it. Why didn't you read it? Pay the man his money.
pay what you owe.
Fucking mad lad right there. It would have been bonus points if he said it had to go to arbitration. So yeah, they're crazy shit.
Yeah, well, we'll take a second. Take a second before we get into the juicy story of the night, because it has to be in every hate cast now. We might as well just be a Blizzard stream at this fucking point. Because ever since we started the show, every week except for like one, they've done something or been in the news for something. So,
Well, before we start it, because I know it's going to be a long one, you mind if I do one more short one?
yeah, go ahead. By all
right.
means.
So, Disney character text-to-speech voices on TikTok briefly censored words like gay and queer.
It's almost like all the LGBT or whatever shit they run is fake. Yeah.
What's hilarious about this is you might, it's like, oh, okay, they censored these things and people got mad. I can imagine people using the text to speech with the characters to say, use those words in a derogatory manner and get them censored again. I mean, people have made chatbots depressed and suicidal before. They can do it.
I just love that we are in a world where it probably didn't even take people a day to find this out.
It says Disney character text-to-speech voices on TikTok, which rolled out on Friday in tandem with the promotional event Disney Plus Day, briefly censored the words gay, lesbian, and queer. TikTok videos. In TikTok videos. The words have since been restored. A Disney streaming representative confirmed. Let's see. TikTok's text-to-speech function.
Oh, sorry, I had to hit the gay switch. All you queers can go on TikTok now. God.
Yeah.
Damn it, how could you forget the gay switch, Tony?
But yeah, basically people got mad, so they reinstated it.
I just love that. Yeah, just forgot the gay switch. Sorry. We usually don't hit that till June, but I guess we can do it for you guys.
I'm just waiting for people to spam it with inappropriate stuff and make them censor it again.
They
Like
won't.
this would be the one hilarious instance where like the SJWs want to uncensor something and like the shit posters could keep getting it censored over and over.
I mean, well, technically, they always want themselves uncensored. It's just what they're saying is in line with the censors.
Yeah, but I mean, in this case, you can either censor some of the really bad shit you could say using those words, or, I mean, and censor the legitimate uses, or you could censor nothing. Like, there's not really a way to do both.
I mean, sure there is human review.
Yeah, but shit posters can overwhelm that easily.
Well, I mean, not really if you were willing to pay people what they were worth to sit down there and go through cringy ass TikTok videos and look for white supremacy. I mean,
Dude, do you realize how much like Twitter and Facebook spend and people still flood it with spam
yeah,
and
but still.
that they don't want, and
Yeah.
it goes under the radar?
Look, I don't know. I don't care how many fat girls you have to pay with cake. Make it happen.
Dros, we don't have enough cake. That's the problem.
Then get someone to get a gay guy in the fucking kitchen to make more. It's not
We
a.
can't. There's not enough ovens. They don't exist. We don't have the power plants to power the electric ovens or the gas.
Look. If AMD can put 64 cores in a processor, we can find a way to put like 250 ovens in a goddamn studio. Right.
You
well,
know, it
this
second, but I heard cores as whores in it.
in this instance, it's interchangeable. Yeah.
Why can't any of the Disney voices say gay? Maybe because they don't want your social ideology there. Have you thought of that?
I know they're gonna point out the one time there's a character like I'm feeling gay, and they're saying like I'm feeling happy because it's the 1940s, and it's like yeah they're not.
Followed by someone else using
It's
text.
so
to speak,
depressing.
going, that's gay.
It's so depressing because I have to actually explain to someone like the original meaning of gay.
So they've resorted to this version here. I'm Guy.
I'm Guy. Wow. Well, I guess I'm glad you're sticking to the binary there because you're either a guy or a gal.
It was just stupid, but it was a funny little story here. Gotta love it when the censor comes around to censor those who wanted censoring.
I like how you shut your article off and my computer fan kick up. They just instantly kick up.
Look, you have no idea how much processing power this logo screen requires.
Okay. So, getting to our main story, which is going to be a long one because it's like 11 articles and they're going to be of varying quality from varying websites of varying quality because some of them are from our dear friends at Kotaku, and I think I have a Polygon one here maybe, which makes me vomit in my mouth, but you know. Let's see. But we'll get through it together. Right?
Because sharing is caring.
Yeah, and you know, the more pain you have, sharing it with other people makes you a better person or something. Something like that. Also, the Halo beta is out. Go play that. It's great. Okay,
Wow, just wow.
So, Wall Street Journal came out with a thing. I couldn't read it because you need to subscribe to them. And I was like, no, I don't really want to give the communist rag fucking money to read it. But every other news place was basically willing to report on what it said. So, we're basically gonna get the bits and pieces that count through other sites. So, I'm just like the third hand messenger. Don't shoot me. But it came out that Bobby Kotick. Oh, this isn't the first one to start out with. But yeah. So it came out that Bobby Kotick like did a bunch of stuff. Like he wrote like the letter that one woman sent out to the company months ago saying like we're all on Team Blizzard, guys, whenever the lawsuit was starting. Right? Don't sue us cuz we're all in it together. Right? Even though there's been some like questionable conduct in the office lately. We're all together on this. Right? That was Bobby.
I just imagine like sincerely or else.
Yeah. Well, there was kind of like an undertone of that, yeah. So, one of the reports that Bobby said, apparently he was going to have someone killed. And I can't remember, I think this is the one where he was like screaming on a voicemail.
I mean, if someone leaves a voicemail screaming at me that they're going to kill me, my first step is to just immediately go to the police and ask that he be arrested for making threats.
Let's see.
Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care that you're the one signing my paycheck.
Okay. In September 2021, O'Neill emailed Activision lawyer to announce her intent to resign. It was clear the company would never prioritize our people the right way, our people, alleging she had been sexually harassed early in her career at Activision, and she was paid less than her male co-head, Mike Ibarra.
When she said our people, was she talking about lawyers in general?
No, she's trying to say, like, I don't like her already just from the statement because it's very, very obvious, at least for me, because I'm a very cynical person, that she is either lying or it's not as bad as she's making it out to believe, because she wants to be captain of Team Revolution, if as it were, right? Like, I think she's mad.
Look, Gross, on a sinking ship and you're in the lifeboat, do you want to be one of the ones rowing or the one at the front just saying stroke?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I have this feeling, okay, and people can hate me for what I say here. It's fine. I have this feeling that nothing really happened to her, that she made up this thing so she could be on team, like the right side of history and be on the winning team, so she can be the leader. And
alternative theory.
Okay.
So maybe something happened, she just actually was. So two things could be true.
So again, you cut out.
Oh, sorry. Basically, I was saying two things can be true. One, something could have happened that was very inappropriate. And two, she could be making it out to be worse than it actually was.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it either didn't happen or it was like a minor thing, like, oh, he grabbed my butt at a party where we were all drinking and having a good time, which isn't that big of a deal. Oh, wow, someone grabbed your ass. Oh, no, the end of the fucking world, lady. Or, like, it's probably something like that. And I mean, because the way she puts it, it's like, I've been sexually harassed. It's like, that doesn't mean anything. That, like, what did, like, could you state specifically what happened to you? And don't give me that victim bullshit if it's too traumatic or whatever. I don't care. Tell if something happened to you, tell me what happened to you. Right? And even in a public statement, like, harassment it could be anything. That could be anything nowadays, from saying something like, hey, you have nice tits, to slapping you on the ass, right? Like, and those are completely different degrees of different situations that you have completely different ways of handling, right? Like, I could actually see the argument if you're slapping girls' asses in an office, why you should be fired.
Yeah, on the other hand, because of Me Too, we've seen people who have basically just gone, "Oh, hey, you're looking good today," basically
Yeah.
get run through the public opinion of, "Oh, well, you clearly harassed this person," when they didn't. So,
Or just being able to saying, I've experienced I've experienced harassment myself. That's an easy statement to say. That's like me saying I've experienced abuse before myself. It's like, but that doesn't mean you experienced abuse here, right?
yeah.
Like, the way you're framing it, right, is that like I take it two ways. I take it as like, I've experienced this harassment, so I can't be here in a place where that's a thing. Or I'm saying that so that I can kind of like subtly imply that my harassment was here.
You know, incidentally, this whole conversation we're having is in and of itself a product of Me Too. Because had that not happened, we'd probably be giving her more credit right now.
I mean, I'm not entirely discrediting what she's saying either, right? It's just the way
Well, I mean, we wouldn't be as doubtful with the phrasing as I think we are, of saying, "Hey, this looks fishy." We might have just gone along with it if we hadn't seen other people use the same language and the same
yeah,
tactics.
that's mainly the thing. Is like, this is coded language. Like, this is the type of statement you see everyone with an agenda say, right? And even more so, like, not necessarily that. Someone could go, well, that's not very agenda based. That's just someone saying they've been harassed, right? Well, here, right, in September 21, emailed an Activision lawyer saying it was clear that the company would never prioritize our people, trying to like polarize herself as us versus them, and I'm on the them side, or I'm on the us side, right?
Yeah.
And then, here it's like, I've been tokenized, marginalized, and discriminated against.
Yeah, see,
Right there, if you have not said those three things, this is right here. Oh, and she was paid less. This literally strikes me as a woman who, she was in a corporate culture that was very male dominated, right? She had no problems about it. Now she sees that the narrative's starting to eat at them, and that she can get brownie points by claiming she's one of the best, she's one of the social justice warriors, and she was marginalized against in a business with all the white men. And that, she left because she just couldn't handle it anymore.
well, yeah, and for me, playing devil's advocate here to make it a little more entertaining, even if it's 100% true what she said, because of people crying wolf, we can't believe it. We basically have to say, yeah, no evidence, which is the correct thing to say in any of these situations. It's like, okay, that's a very serious allegation. Where's the evidence?
Yeah. But yeah, I think this goes over a lot of the same stuff. Let's see. Main allegations about Kotick that are in 2006, he left a threatening voicemail on an assistant's phone in which he threatened to have her killed. The assistant complained, and Kotick settled the matter out of court. Activision spokesperson Helene Klasky told the Wall Street Journal that Mr. Kotick quickly apologized 16 years ago for the obviously hyperbolic and inappropriate voicemail, and he deeply regrets the exaggeration and tone in his voicemail to this day.
Okay, so 16 years ago, come on.
Yeah.
Like if it was 6 months ago, okay. 16 years ago, really?
Well,
And
remember, Me
she
Too generation.
obviously wasn't truly afraid for her life, because if she was, simply getting paid off wouldn't fix it, right?
Okay. Another allegation is that Kotick personally intervened in the case of Dan Bunting, then co-head of Activision's Treyarch studio, key part of the Call of Duty series. Bunting was accused by a female employee of sexually harassing her in 2017 after a night of drinking. Really? Activision launched an internal investigation in 2019 when this was reported, recommending Bunting be fired. But Kotick intervened to keep him. Bunting was instead given counseling and allowed to remain at Activision. However, after Wall Street Journal began inquiring about this incident, Bunting has now left Activision, which was, I imagine, a smart move. And I mean,
Probably.
I'd have to see the specifics of that case. It does sound suspicious because it just sounds like, to me, again, because I have to err on the cynical side because of how often I've seen it. Well, I was drinking, he was drinking, he touched me, and then I regretted it the night afterwards. So now we have to have a case about it.
Well, and again, being cynical, but in a different direction, I could see something maybe inappropriate have happened, and then it's not really Kotick's fault for rehiring him so much as it is like, hey, we really don't want to lose this guy over what was relatively minor because of the type of job he does. So I could actually see something like that coming to fruition. I don't think that's the case, but I could see it happening.
Yep, and the report goes on to detail rape allegations made against Javier Panameno, a Sledgehammer Games supervisor. The accuser's lawyer alleged he also had sexually harassed a second woman at the studio. The employee who accused him of the assaults reported that 2017 incident to the police. No charges were brought. I kind of want to see why there were no charges brought.
Yeah.
That seems kind of sus right there. Why the assaults were reported to Activision in 2018 and Panameno was fired 2 months later. Yeah, like, why were there no charges brought? I kind of want information on that. I'll have to look into that later on. If I can. I'll have to put on my, my non-existent journo cap and maybe play journo for 5 minutes to see if I can't find that. The accuser's lawyers added that while her client had not reported the incident to Activision before leaving in November 2017, she reported them to Sledgehammer's HR department while at the company. The report also alleges that former Blizzard technology chief Ben Kilgore faced multiple allegations of sexual harassment over several years and lied in an internal investigation about a relationship with a lower-level employee. Kilgore was fired in 2018 with Kotick's approval. Kotick has been subpoenaed by the Securities and Exchange Commission for an investigation into how the company handled misconduct and disclosed it. Thus, what Kotick knew and when, and what he told others, such as the board, is very important. Per the Wall Street Journal, the board of directors was blindsided by the California lawsuit's allegations, including that an Activision employee killed herself after a photo of her vagina allegedly was circulated at a company party, according to people familiar with the board.
The cynical side of me wants to say, are we sure it was just the picture?
Damn it. I can't help but laugh. I don't want to. I can't help but laugh because of fucking Life is Strange. God damn it. Because in the video game Life is Strange, there's a girl, spoiler alert for a really dumb game, right? There's a girl, a really frumpy girl who's like, I guess the super conservative nerdy girl or something. I don't know how to really explain her, but like basically she goes to a party, she gets drunk and blows a guy, and then they take a video of it and then they spread it online and everyone in the school sees it. And this is in college. So she's like, oh my god, everyone's watching me blow this guy. I'm gonna go jump off a building. And she literally runs up to the fucking top of the school and just jumps off. But you get a chance to try and save her and talk her down. And I tried. I played defuse the bomb, right? I tried this, like, no, don't kill yourself. You have so much to live for. You probably won't be able to get into a decent relationship or a good marriage because everyone's gonna look on Facebook and see you blowing that dude in college. But you can try.
Plot twist: too many people have jumped from the building, just like at Foxconn. So there was a net.
Yeah, it would be great. She jumps off and she just falls and breaks her legs. Like, ow, that has to really hurt. Like, how are you not dead? I fell in like 4 blonde girls who jumped this week.
Okay, I am sorry, but I have to get up for a minute.
Okay. Oh man, I have to fill some dead air now, so I get to practice my showkeeper skills. So remember, everybody, hit like, subscribe. Make sure you go to my Twitch channel, which is Droshyrazan, DROSHYROZAN at twitch.com. Give me a follow. We really appreciate any algorithm boost you give us. Considering we have like none at this current stage, go ahead and tell us your opinion on Activision and Blizzard. How far do you think Blizzard's gonna go before they eventually just end up being shuttered by Activision? You think Bobby's gonna keep his job? The crazy roller coaster never ends. And this isn't even the last topic of the night either. So we have at least one more, I believe. I can't remember what it is because, my short-term memory is pretty much gone, non-existent. But
I mean, if we even make it that far.
Yeah. I forgot where I was. Oh, I think this is done. Well, no, it's not. At that time, an email was circulated around Activision Blizzard staff by Frances Townsend, one of the company's female executives. This is what I was telling you about. Townsend would take an enormous amount of flack for this email, and Kotick backtracked the statement and called it tone deaf. Bobby Kotick drafted that statement and directed Townsend to send it. That's a great sentence, by the way. Townsend had to apologize to a company's women group she led and was asked to resign, which she did. Well, that's great. Miss Townsend should not be blamed for this mistake. Well, she obviously... Yeah, I bet all those women feel real shitty right now. Because they put that woman on a fucking pitchfork and burned her alive in front of everyone alive, and Bobby just sat back cackling like, yes, let the hate flow through you. These new revelations have to be viewed in a wider context of the allegations against Activision Blizzard and various ongoing legal actions. Yeah.
Actually, I'd say based off our legal system, no, you have to judge them each individually on their merits.
I'm gonna sum up most of this. Basically, at least this part, is that, yeah, you got a bunch of complaints from HR. People are starting to walk out. People are calling for his resignation. Bad things are happening.
I mean, honestly, they cultivated these kinds of people. They reached out to it. Look, once you go to the soy side, you don't come back the same.
This is Bobby's...
Blizzard's been courting that for a while.
This is Bobby's statement here. I want to say 2 important things, sir, about this. First, we are incredibly fortunate to have the most talented people in the industry also committed to constant improvement. That's why World of Warcraft is constantly on a decline. And I share this commitment. That's why I told all the people in Blizzard to form a close-knit team and not sue the fuck out of us. The second thing I want to say is that anyone who doubts my conviction to be the most welcoming, inclusive workplace doesn't really appreciate how important this is to me.
I mean, Look,
I like that. That you got when you make a public statement, you gotta have a low key like this there. Like you just don't understand how important this is to me.
look, here's the thing. At this point, it doesn't matter what he says. Like, he could have come out and just given a Bill Clinton speech where he's like,
Uh,
I did not have sexual
I just
relations
want
with
to tell
that
the American
woman.
people, I did not have sex with that saxophone.
Like, he might have at least gotten some laughs from that. This, no. It's like, the problem is you've already hit a point with public opinion. There's no turning back.
Just shut up. At this point, just shut up. I would just be like, someone would be like, you want to make a
Take your
public
golden
statement?
parachute and shut up.
Yeah, it's like, no, I'm good. What, you're not going to say anything about it? Fuck no. What am I going to go say? Yeah, I told that woman to go fuck herself on a voicemail 16 years ago. Yeah, I did it.
That would be the quote right there.
Yeah.
Devoid of context.
It's like if you heard that voicemail, me threatening to kill her was the least of her concerns. Like, just, man, these people can't even be real anymore. You know what's funny about our dystopian world, right? Is that we live in a world where you can't even be real anymore, right? You just can't come out and make a public statement where it's just like, yo, fuck the press, and then just walk out, right?
I mean, I feel like Donald Trump basically did that, though.
I'm sorry, if I was in it this deep, I would come out in a brand new suit. I don't even give a fuck, right? I could be bankrupt. I would go sell my kidney to come out in a new suit with a fucking, one of those little fucking drip feed poles, right? And I'd be like, fuck the press, and then walk and hobble my ass back into Activision. Like, Jesus Christ.
That, or just come out and you pick like the favorite character of a bunch of SJWs that's currently in WoW. You just come out and say, all right, all you fuckers, this character's dead. See what you've done? Don't make me pull the trigger on another, and walk back.
Yeah. Oh, no.
That game is like that afternoon just snapped from existence in the game.
That would be the super Chad move, man. You would gain so many followers back if you just simply did that. Like, you bring out one of those paper stills of Sylvanas, and you just pull out like one of those 9mm and pop 5 in her chest. You're like, there, she's dead. Don't fuck with me, or another one goes.
and you have it timed so like there's an immediate stop of that character and model being in game. It's just not there anymore.
No, the cutscene's released like 5 minutes later on the Blizzard.
No, it's just the video of you doing it.
No.
And then whenever you go where that character would be, it's just lying there dead with bullet wounds.
No, it's a fully rendered in-game cutscene of Sylvanas being shot 5 times in the chest, and that's all it is. Like, it's just her like being what? And just being shot 5 times, and then it's just like her bleeding on the ground for like a minute long. And it's like, yeah, Sylvanas is done. She's no longer a part of Shadowlands. We've closed that chapter. Redemption arc has been fulfilled. You can be redeemed in hell.
Don't fucking push me. I'll take another one.
Jane is next. Fuck with me. Just say I won't. That purple highlight whore, I'll send her straight to hell.
Yeah, I would love to see the backlash against that.
Yeah. People would flip. You would have so many purple-haired feminists on Twitter like, oh my god, that's the most sexist and racist and bigoted thing I've ever heard in my life. And it's like, wait.
And then you'd have an entire other group that'd be like, you know what?
Based.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, people would be like, based. Fuck yeah, let's go. So Sylvanas is gone. Already we've improved Warcraft.
It's like, you know what? Maybe I don't want him to quit. This is going in a good direction.
Yeah, like, Get a 9mm, like get a 9mm out. That's the jailer's power. That's how he's gonna rewrite history. He's gonna get to the end, and he's just like, oh man, all this power to get what I finally want. He's just gonna pull out a 9mm, a 9mm with infinite ammo, and he's just gonna fucking cock it up and then shoot every main fucking character from the last 15 fucking years right in the fucking face. And it's like Thrall dead. Anduin dead. He's gonna go back to Stormwind and kill Tellurian or whatever his name is, Trallian, whatever his fucking name is. Shaw from fucking SI7. He's gonna kill fucking all the Horde Council people because they're bitches anyways. They don't deserve to live. Gonna shoot the fucking furry guy from Gilneas.
Twice.
Yeah, twice because he's got a human form too, right?
Kill both of them. Remember the double tap.
Yeah.
Make sure it doesn't come back to life.
Go kill all the undead that got out, right? Go pop the Lich King. He's done now. The high elf guy, all of them. Just kill them all. And it's like, hey, now we can go. Now we can make something new. And then you go on to Warcraft 2.
I mean, let's be honest, if he somehow pulled that off and got it inserted into the game without Activision knowing and pulled it off, he'd be immediately fired along with whoever the hell helped him.
Or would he be the best CEO ever for like not a Realm Reborning WoW, but making it like, yeah, like all the people come around like, oh my god, every character that's been annoying to me for the last 15 years just got their faces blown in like they were a fucking piece of cheese, right? With a fucking firecracker in them. Oh my god, it's so satisfying. I need to play Warcraft now.
That would be hilarious if it saved Warcraft.
Yeah, like that because it's like, yeah, just say that and be like, in Warcraft 2 we commit to no extraneous political bullshit. That means you're not, if we hire a purple-haired feminist, there's gonna be someone with a fucking cane behind them to cane them in the back of the fucking head whenever they talk about communism and having it put in the game. The only representation of your ideology you're gonna have is the amount of fucking cane strikes you have in the back of your fucking head that day.
That's a great representation of ideology for communists.
That just, I guarantee you have that,
and your Blizzard flag, instead of being the fist, it's a fist holding a cane.
Yeah. It's like it's got layers, right? To put it in a non-retard way, it has layers because it represents, one hand, we will cane you if you're actively stupid, right? But also, if you go on for too long, we'll flip the cane over and use it to drag your ass off stage. Right? It's a metaphor or a simile or whatever. You know, it's deep and meaningful, right? That's the point.
Much like the concussions you have. They're both
deep and meaningful. Yeah. Like, that's how you build Warcraft back better. Right? Fucking cane the communists. That's all you gotta do. You gotta kill every main character and cane the communists.
I kind of want to run for any office at this point with just the slogan of cane the communists.
Yeah.
And see if I win.
Yeah, you can hold me to that quote, right? Let's see.
Yes, communism is punished in my state now by public caning.
But yeah, this is basically just covering what we already knew, you know. Allegations, they don't look good for Bobby Kotick. So that's the first one. And to Kotaku, picking out that same thing we did. You know, the other side of the field is like, she felt tokenized, marginalized, and discriminated against, right?
I mean, of course you're being marginalized. You're the co-head.
Well, she also
Like-
was like, I wasn't paid as much as him. It's like, of course, because you're the co-head.
Well, I mean, I was going to make an inappropriate joke, but
Yeah, I mean,
since you interrupted me there, I'll let it go.
it's like you were when someone says you're the co-head, right? It doesn't exactly like inspire to me that you're actually like you're not like the owner. Like if you're a partner, yeah, it just makes it seem like you're a step down from the actual head, like you're a vice president.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, of course you were paid less because you were in a less important decision, less important place. You weren't making the decisions.
Is it says their first woman co-head? I would venture a guess that whoever the other co-head was,
Mikey Barra.
probably had that position longer and got more raises.
I think this
because those positions, like, you get yearly raises typically.
Let me rack my pea brain here for a minute. Wasn't Mikey Barra the guy that was selling runs on Twitter like 2 or 3 weeks ago?
Probably. Like, she would have had to do the same thing to get on his level.
Well, yeah, well, she should know she's not going to get paid as much as he does. He doesn't play fair.
Well, yeah, but aside from that, he's been in the position longer. Typically,
Yeah.
that means higher pay.
Yeah, but even if you were put on an even field,
Like, you don't get to come in, be like multiple years behind someone else and just expect to get the exact same as them. No, you got to work at it.
yeah, so Kotaku was quick to pick this out, right? And this is why I was saying, this is why another reason why I'm cynical. Because, you know, she said the words, the magical words to get these people on her side now.
Yeah.
And it's not like she was misconstrued. It's not like she was taken out of context. She said these words. So it instantly makes me think that you have an agenda. We're not going to go over Kotaku's article, because screw them. And, you know, because of this all happening, people started walking out again. This is the second time it's walked out this year. This one was slightly bigger, I think. I can't remember how many. They said like 800 or something people eventually.
I mean, let's be honest. Activision should just come in and say, okay, we are just shutting down Blizzard. We're going to own all of their IPs. Everyone's fired. Get out.
Yeah. Yeah, and this was like, yeah, you just have her killed.
We will just form a totally new team to take over. Everyone else is fired. Get the hell out of the building.
Yeah, it's a bit like you can see this news kind of making the rounds, right? That, like, you know, this is the current media thing is that he knew it for years and that he enabled it. You can kind of see the narrative building against Bobby right away. This exploded all like a couple days ago, and it's not really gotten any better for him. So people are calling out for Bobby's job, even some shareholders, and you know, console partners.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair,
he's not keeping that job.
To be fair, PlayStation is entirely inhabited by cucks now.
Unfortunately,
Like,
all of the censorship and everything
Yeah.
they've been exercising.
Yeah, the California branch, like a fucking disease, like a fucking flood spore in Halo, has attached itself to Sony. And what little greatness Sony had, because I've always felt like mixed about Sony, because Sony's great, when they're fucking behind. Like when Sony needs to make up ground, you will see Sony do some great things. But when Sony's actually in front and they know it, they will sit on their ass and they will just put out mediocre shit.
And they don't even have to be far in front.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so I have mixed feelings about them. So to see them being like entirely devoured by the same thing, just getting Blizzard, makes me sort of sad. And it just proves that a lot of the stuff that is Japanese will slowly succumb to the same disease we have. It just takes time.
Well, on the other hand, part of their problem might be the fact they have a studio in California that calls most of the shots for all their westernized stuff.
Yeah, but they essentially bought them out from what I understand. Like,
oh, the California studio bought the rest of it out?
Or they just fought for primary. I'd have to go check again, but they
Yeah, I don't think they could buy it out. I think they just got way more authority than they should have been given.
Yeah, like I'd have to go look at it just to say for sure, but they got like some level of control that allowed them to be the ones calling the shots instead of the Japanese branch. Which is dumb to me, but that's like I figured it had something to do with the changing of money because American companies will just throw money at a problem, and this is kind of going to be the problem I feel with Japanese companies because a Japanese YouTuber I was watching was saying like Japanese companies don't make money the same way Americans do. And it would essentially be very easy for a lot of American companies to just like push a bunch of money onto Japanese companies and buy them out in a low-key motion like they do in like capitalist venture takeovers.
You know, it would be interesting to do that to certain Japanese companies that you wanted to preserve and then gatekeep the hell out of them.
Yeah, like it was an interesting concept, and it's like one I think that might play out over time, like viewing the way that Sony goes. And like it's also like Arch did a video where he was talking about like the Chinese, or not the Chinese, but the Japanese Communist Party is calling for censorship in Japan now of anime and stuff.
See, what I think will happen is a lot of these industries, at least the larger companies, will die, and then gradually others will rise, and they will not be bound by the same bullshit because they won't have the same people working for them.
Well,
Now, in the case of legislation for censorship, they're still screwed, but
yeah, it's gonna be I feel like what's gonna end up happening is you're going to have China and then like the bar a war, right? Bar a war, you're gonna have China and America basically split Japan into two.
see, I'm just imagining kind of at least with the industry stuff, somewhat like Comicsgate, where they're like, oh, screw all of you small time creators. We're going to make our SJW stuff. Go make your own. They said okay, and now their own stuff is outselling the larger companies.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's not exactly hard to do when the companies are like sabotaging all of their stuff. And they're still
Yeah, and what I'm saying is if Sony or other Japanese companies get bought out like that, it's very possible that the same thing could happen.
yeah, it's just there's also a few problems with Comicsgate too that it seems like whenever an industry has to go to a new standard like they're trying to do with Comicsgate, and no, like you don't have a collective idea as to what that standard should be, problems start arising
Yeah,
because people
I
start
just mean what happens is when people don't really want your shit, they stop buying it and your company
yeah.
dies. At some point, your company will just disappear, and someone providing what people want will actually start making money. And rise to prominence.
Yeah, it's just I don't like seeing franchises I like get killed off by these fucking cancers.
No, I agree.
Like
Um,
Warcraft, I'd made my peace with, to be honest, when they did pandas. Like,
well, it's why Razorfist did a rant recently on gatekeeping the hell out of
what was it called? BattleTech.
mech. Yeah, BattleTech. I was gonna say Mech Warrior,
Yeah,
but because he's like, yeah, don't let them do what they did to Warhammer to us.
yeah, because all the Warhammer fans are running to BattleTech now as a refugee.
Yeah, and he basically said, gatekeep the hell out of them. Don't let the blue-haired land whales in.
Which ultimately, like, I feel like they're gonna lose BattleTech because it's gonna take a lot more losses before gatekeeping becomes an important thing. Like, because it's kind of like pre-orders with normies, right? Like, no matter, like, you yourself can be like, oh, I'm not gonna pre-order, right?
But the normies do.
But yeah, if everybody around you pre-orders, you're just the odd one out. And I mean, yeah, you individually profit off of not doing that. But still, it's not like you doing that really solves the problem, right?
Yeah, it would have to be in mass. It's like what I said with cell phones and contracts earlier. If you had 10 million, let's say Verizon customers who didn't like language in the contract and all said simultaneously, yeah, we're canceling immediately if you don't do something, Verizon will look at that and go, oh shit, that's like $100 million out of our budget this year. We'd better fix it. But because the normies would never do that, they'll just bend over and take it.
Yeah.
Verizon doesn't have to worry.
But even then, there's still also a level of like, what's the word I want to look for? Of like stubbornness and we're on the right path no matter what. Like Blizzard, for example, right? Like Blizzard knows deep in their heart of hearts that what they're doing with Warcraft is bad. But they're not going to change because they're like, no, I know best, though. I've been developing games for 15 years. It's kind of like the same.
I mean, that's the exact same thing Final Fantasy went through.
Yeah, it's also like Bellular kind of reminded me of something. Like he said something where it was like it like the Warcraft statement that like the video we're gonna watch and some of the statements that the Warcraft team has made, he's like, you can tell it's very market oriented. And it was like saying that about Bobby's statements too, I think. Like it's very market oriented. Like you go through media training and you learn what to say and stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's it's very trained speak.
HR speak.
Yeah. I'm losing my train of thought too. For some reason. But let me see if I can't remember what it was. I've completely lost it now. Completely lost the fucking plot.
It's okay. Just click on the next tab.
Yeah. I'll try to remember what it was. Oh, okay, I remember what it was. Okay, like people get trained so much in the marketing, right? That they will because you're saying that all this is like media speak and stuff like that. Like and that it's from a marketing angle the best thing you could say. And like I feel like people get trained so far into marketing that they learn marketing trends and stuff like that and they forget that one of the core tenets of marketing is to shake up those trends. Like sometimes the best thing you can do is when everyone's doing a thing is to do the exact opposite.
Well, I watched a video and it was about how to think analytically from the perspective of like an intelligence agency. And one of the interesting things that were said was that a trend is just that. It can only show you what's happened in the past. It can't tell you what will happen in the future. It can aid you in figuring out a cause and effect, but that's about it. So you can't rely on, well, this worked perfectly in the past, these other 3 times, it'll work now. Well, maybe it won't. The past does not predict the future.
Yeah, like you can't, even then, it's beyond you to know all the variables.
Exactly. And not just that, but there's also variables that literally are random.
Yeah.
So even if everything else is the same, there's certain other random variables you can't, you don't have control of. So I feel that's very apt when it comes to marketing speak. You're trying to do the most clean, mathematically figured out way you can do it, but you're assuming it's going to work simply because it's worked in the past, and that is not necessarily true. And I feel like a lot more people are becoming immune to that kind of speak.
Yeah, it's a slow process. Like, that's what I was saying with like gatekeeping, right? Like, it definitely hit a lot of people with Warhammer hard. Like, that was like, even though they were very stupid about it, because it's one of those things like when you see someone like Ark being attacked by it, or Arch being attacked by it, you should defend Ark because I keep saying his name wrong. Arch. You should defend Arch because at the end of the day, not only is he one of you, but they're gonna judge you by the same stick that they just judged him. Right? Like it's
you can't comply your way out of a problem.
and what's fucked up about the judging thing is that it's not even the same stick. It's like an even thinner stick. Like they're gonna be like, well, yeah, we used a big stick for him, but I mean, he was a Nazi or whatever, right? You're a closeted white supremacist. I had to use a much smaller standard for you.
Well, yeah, it's just like, they first kicked off Alex Jones and then started coming for everyone else, which a lot of people said would happen. It's like, no, we need to fight this here. The line should be drawn here and no further.
Yeah, and it's like, so all the people that could have defended him when he really needed it, just like, there were people that actively like said, no, I'm not going to do it because, either I don't want to be seen with you or my politics don't allow myself to align with you. Right. And even some people, like from the text to speech thing, apparently called like authorities on him and shit. And it was like, wow, like how faggy can you be? Like, I don't have words for like how big of a faggot you actually have to be to not only not come to someone's defense when they need it in your own community like that, but to, actively encourage from the shadows more bad things to happen to them.
It's because it's not the principle they care about, but the result they want that matters.
Yeah, they think that like Games Workshop's just coming in to attack one person, and they're fine with like teaming up with Games Workshop to take out Arch, as long as Arch, as long as he's the only target, without realizing that sword cleaves multiple people along the way, and then it comes
without realizing that there's never an end. There will always be someone else. That's why you have to draw a line and say this line may never be crossed under any circumstances.
It's a lot like being in a village where like a monster comes to your village and it's like, I need one of your members to be sacrificed to me, right? And instead of killing the monster, you sacrifice the person you don't like the most, and then he comes back like 5 minutes later, I need another one. Like by the end of it, like half your village has been eaten and you can't even fight back. So that's what happened to the Warhammer community. It's like whenever they swung on like all the animators, that bled so much life out of the community, and it's like because you allowed it, you gave them like the precedent to do it.
Yep. And people just don't realize it. It's like, do not give power to someone that could one day be wielded against you.
Like, I can't hold anything against WoW players in this aspect, because WoW players have fought hard against Blizzard for eons. For fucking eons.
It's just that Blizzard was corrupted already.
Yeah, they fought for eons to keep their hobby the way they wanted it. And Blizzard kept changing it and wouldn't listen. So that's really the tragedy of Warcraft. It's like, because with Warhammer, like, if you gave enough pushback to GW, they probably would have actually just, like, maybe not righted full course, but they would have, like, retracted a lot of shit and played good boy until they were ready to dump the IP away. Right? Whereas Warcraft, no, they want to ride that shit into the ground like it's a fucking sled, and we ran out of snow and we're still sliding. Like we've gone from snow onto the highway that goes straight down.
Yeah, I mean, things are bad enough that you have a bunch of people asking for him to get removed, so shit's bad.
Yeah, like they had a big, yeah, sorry to get like tremendously off topic, but like they had
It's fine, we brought it back.
They had a bunch of people, you know, because this is states more than 150. Oh, I guess they updated it too, yeah. It climbed past 800. And I don't think I have the actual article here, but... Oh, here we go. Yeah, I do. The actual board has rallied around Bobby Kotick, you know, saying that they trust in his leadership. The Activision Blizzard board remains committed to the goal of making Activision Blizzard the most welcome and inclusive company in the industry. Under Bobby Kotick's leadership, the company is already implementing industry-leading changes, including a zero-tolerance harassment policy. I like this, that apparently there's some tolerance for sexual harassment in the industry.
You know, none of them have stopped to consider that maybe it's this push for, you know, diversity of traits you can't change that has caused the problem.
Nope.
Instead of a push for, you know, the best and brightest to do a job.
Double down, whiskey. Double down. Deny until you die.
Never.
Let's see. Dedication to achieving significant increases to the percentages of women and non-binary people in our workforce, and significant internal and external investments to accelerate opportunities for diverse talent. The board remains confident that Bobby Kotick appropriately addressed workplace issues brought to his attention. The goals we have set for ourselves are both critical and ambitious. The board remains confident in Bobby Kotick's leadership, commitment, and ability to achieve these goals. Yeah.
Right up until they golden parachute him.
Yeah, that seems going to be the way it's going to be going, right? And then to pile on, we had Jason Schreier's like, this was a neat thing to see too. Right? Like, it's like, apparently they gave the entirety of next week off for Thanksgiving. You know, kind of to like soften that blow.
Which, yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing you should almost expect normally.
Oh man, that's so terrible. Too bad.
It's like, okay, we won't beat the shit out of you this Thanksgiving. You can have fun with your families, but just this once.
But the pile on again. We have the Xbox boss that's disturbed by what's going on at Activision Blizzard on top of PlayStation, you know. Because PlayStation is rough for you, right? Because they're the ones that you get your exclusive Call of Duty stuff with, you know. They have a big deal with PlayStation. They get everything first. All these good deals, right? They had Destiny. Like PlayStation loves to lock up a lot of companies into first party dealings with them so they get stuff first. And Call of Duty was very much among that list. And now you got the PlayStation CEO going, "Whoa, guy, we're not about that here."
Yeah.
Which it's probably not gonna lead to anything major, but it's not a good look, right? It's one of those things. Like the more and more this builds up, the more and more people are gonna be like, "Yeah, but you have like companies that are partners, like making public statements against you."
Well, and in retrospect, or well, maybe not retrospect, but thinking about it, it's probably just another set of HR workers going, "Hey, we need to get ahead of this."
Yeah, it really is. Like with PlayStation, it is because again, they're co-opted now. They're completely paused, and so they're saying it to get ahead of anything, right? Because they're connected to Blizzard. Like it wouldn't be a bad guess. Like whoever may thought of this really is on the ball because they're like, oh fuck, we actually have a lot of first party dealings with Blizzard. We should and Activision. We should probably like make a statement so they don't think like we encourage that, right? So
Yeah, just to be safe.
yeah, so at best you're covering your ass. At worst, you're getting ahead of it so that you can potentially cut them off and they know why.
I mean, I can't really blame them for either action though at this point.
And Phil Spencer said this type of play behavior has no place in our industry. He was he was disturbed and deeply troubled. You know, all the bad stuff. Not a lot of news here, but you know. Xbox chiming in saying, "Oh yeah, that's pretty bad."
Maybe you should play a game on Xbox instead.
Maybe you should go play Halo Infinite, yeah. But not a good day for Blizzard. Not a great day.
No, clearly not.
Yeah, I was watching that blow up.
So, looking at this next article, have you played Halo Infinite?
Yes, actually, I've been playing the beta because the multiplayer is free right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I might have to download it and jump in.
it's pretty fun. Like, I like it and dislike it.
It is on the PC, right?
Yeah, on Steam.
Okay.
Like, I like it and dislike it. I like it because, like, the time to kill is pretty good. It's a little faster than normal Halo. And, like, most of the core Halo you know is there. But there's some changes that I don't like that modern shooters do that kind of ruin it for me. Especially when, like, Halo used to have some of the more unique playlists. So like,
Well, like what?
so like Big Team Battle. Big Team Battle used to be like a 16 versus 16 thing. Where like you were put on a big map and there's like vehicles and stuff and you know objectives are cycled through every map.
Yeah.
And you know the vehicles feel like vehicles in older Halos. In this one, vehicles kind of feel like a power up. Like,
Oh, just the way they handle.
well, it's the longevity, right? Like I got a scorpion and someone shot me right away, and my Scorpion was already on fire.
Okay.
And so it's like I got
So they took a page out of Grand Theft Auto.
kind of like weapons are kind of like vehicles kind of feel like a power up. Like I got in the Scorpion and I managed like a minute of time before everyone just piled on me and murdered me. Whereas on like the old Halo, a Scorpion would be devastating. Like a Scorpion could clear out a whole base of people without the proper stuff. It
Yeah.
That's why they were rarely put on the map. Or if they were each team gets one, and it's not spawned in the middle of the map like this one was. And
Well, yeah, like your classic Blood Gulch from the first one. Each side got multiple vehicles.
yeah, so it just I've got problems with it, but I've enjoyed it more than I've had problems with it.
As a side note, one of the few times I got to play Halo multiplayer, um, I had a hell of a lot of fun in a Blood Gulch match that was only grenades and scorpions.
Oh my god.
It was ridiculous as hell.
See, that's like the fun thing you used to be able to do in Halo is a crazy like playlists and shit. And it just like the more Halo goes on, the less of that you see, and it just makes me sad.
Well, I mean, that's also the kind of thing you get when you don't have matchmaking, when you actually have to use a server browser so people can make their own game modes and stuff. I don't know how Infinite is doing it. It's just a
It's
lot of games default to a matchmaker now.
Yeah, well, that's what Halo's done forever now, so.
Yeah, I miss a lot of the stuff you could do when no matchmaker was involved.
I mean, I don't even mind Matchmaker. It's just when you don't put in a playlist that for anything other than like one like solo playlist or a team playlist, and that's it. And you just get team games or you get solo games. Because that's all that's there right now. Like you can play a custom
Yeah.
game. Like if I was a streamer, for example, and I had like hundreds of viewers, yeah, I could play a custom game and I could run that kind of server because people would be constantly jumping into it. But I don't, so I can't.
I mean, I remember when you could start up a server when you'd have people join who are just looking for something, but
Yeah, but gaming's so wide now that never happens.
I think it depends a little on the game, though.
Well, yeah, I mean if your game is really popular, like God
Well,
forbid.
I mean, Halo's probably popular enough they could do it that way.
I don't know. You probably could.
I mean, I've seen way smaller games do just fine with that. It's just you have a lot less lobbies and a lot less people who bother to make lobbies.
I would just like some sillier playlists.
Yeah, it's fun to get some of the ridiculous shit. It's like how we talked about some of the ridiculous modifiers in Fortnite that made it fun for a while,
Yeah.
like snipers only or this freaking ridiculous rocket launcher only, where to win you had to get the rockets you could guide.
Yeah, man, that's so great.
It was stupid and ridiculous and a hell of a lot of fun.
Like that's the thing I do miss when like games just have the crazy playlists all over the place. I was watching a video where someone was firing a Redeemer in like Unreal 2. I was like,
Uh-huh.
damn. Like no one's gonna put
I used to love using the Redeemer in the first Unreal tournament.
Oh, another thing that pisses me off about this Halo, I will say actually, is they've changed all the guns around, and for some of them that's good, like the assault rifle it's good, the battle rifle is pretty much okay and mostly the same, but they've made all these new guns and the form factor doesn't tell you anything about the gun. So you grab the
Oh,
gun thinking it's something, and then you fire it and it does something else, and you're like, that's what it does?
well, you said it's in beta, right?
Yeah.
So I imagine in beta, at the very least, stuff like the cars could be tweaked
Yeah,
because that's literally just like a health value on the vehicle.
yeah, but imagine, I don't think that's going to change though, because that's like a holdover from 4 and 5.
Okay.
Yeah, vehicles, like over time, vehicles have become less of a thing in Halo.
See, I always loved vehicles in multiplayer. That's probably why I always like Battlefield, because you
Yeah,
have people in tanks and aircraft and shit.
yeah, that's one of the reasons why I liked Battlefield 1, because it had basic vehicles and stuff and like a wide open map. But
Yeah, it really lends itself to strategy and how you're gonna tackle a problem.
like imagine picking up what looks like a grenade launcher and then finding out it's a shotgun after you fire it.
Yeah, that would be kind of annoying.
And
Like, I'm just gonna lob this grenade, and you just like shoot the shotgun in the air, like you're
yeah,
trying to break up a fight.
or you'll get like, I got this one gun where you get to lock on the people and it just is so annoying to use without having, like, the first time you use it, it's just, it is a grenade launcher but it homes, and I'm like, but you have to zoom in the home and it takes a second, so you gotta do it. But if you try to do it long range, it misses, so you have to get closer up.
Uh,
It's just like these guns have these like stipulations, at least in how I've used them. They aren't very useful, so I just stick to the assault rifle. There's a couple of them, like the sniper rifle. Like I've stuck to the human guns like I normally do in the Halo series, because Halo human guns are simple and I understand. But plasma guns are always like wonky from game to game, so
Incidentally, I really do like grenade launchers in games. Ever since Quake,
yeah.
they're just stupid fun.
Oh man, I loved like the miniaturized grenade launcher you got in GTA 5.
Yeah,
That got me in so much trouble because I could just fire the fucking grenade from a bike ahead of the bike and blow the fucking car up and had cause like a traffic jam and just go flying from a collision.
good fun.
That was one that Neo hated me so bad because you didn't even see me fire the grenades. All you hear is like this boom, and then the car
It's
blows up, and Neo's like, "Where the fuck how did that happen?"
called the magic of explosives. I do miss sticky bombing someone's car and waiting for him to come out and get in it, though.
Yeah.
Even if you have to pay the money for it, watching them get in their car from like an ammunition, start driving off, and then explode was entertaining.
Or if you drive, having someone chase you and you throw a time bomb on the fucking on the road behind you and then set it off so they explode.
It's always amazing when you could do something just perfectly to kill them like that. I still remember the guy who was hacking, and the only way you could kill him was with explosives. And we got in this massive pile up together, and his car was right next to the window of mine, and I just like reach out, put explosives on it, and punch the gas, drive away. Oh, it was beautiful. And because it was a massive traffic jam, of course there was a lot more than just him and his car that blew up.
Man, good times. Back when GTA was less paused. Now it's all about flying rocket bikes and fucking jets and shit.
Sadly, yeah. So, other than guns being a little wonky and cars being like tricycles when it comes to durability.
Capture the flag is dumb.
Wait, as in you've never liked that mode, or they've done it in a dumb way?
They've done it in a dumb way, I feel, because they give each team a flag. And so what ends up happening in most of my games of Capture the Flag is it becomes a turtle fest. Like I've had
Oh, where each team has the other's flag?
no, where like you each team has their own flag and nobody can go and get the other team's flag because what ends up happening is you need most of your team to go and attack the flag, right? Because most of the team, all of the team,
Yeah.
is sitting there guarding the flag, and then you die, right? Because you either get uncoordinated team members, or not everyone's willing to commit to that, so they trickle in, die, and then no flag gets taken, or you get people to commit, and then the other team commits too, so you steal each other's flags, meet in the middle, kill, send each other's flags back, and then go back.
Yeah, that almost sounds more like it's due to poor map design, to be honest.
It is like I don't really. I'm not a fan of the current maps. I will say that they feel a little small, and they're. I don't know if it's like one map we've been playing on, and it's just like the time of day, or if it's like roughly two maps. I think it's like two maps, and it's like they could be a little bit better, yeah.
Because I remember playing quite a few like classic shooters with capture the flag and it going off without a hitch for the most part.
Well, when it has one flag, it's fine, right? Because it creates like a tug of war situation. But when you have two
Well, the
flags,
classic ones you usually did have two flags.
well, in my every classic I've ever played, the Halo's only had one.
I'm not talking about Halo.
Oh, well, I'm specifically speaking in Halo.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking of like Unreal Tournament, some
Yeah,
of the Quake
but
games.
Unreal Tournament, you're much faster than you are in Halo.
This is true.
That would be my point. Like in Halo, when you grab the flag, your weapons dropped, you are vulnerable, and you need other teammates to help escort you back.
Yeah, see, in Unreal, you don't drop your weapons. It's just you can't teleport or anything.
Yeah, so that's why
So you can still fight and hold the flag at the same time.
yeah, that's why you need your whole team, because the flag carrier is probably gonna die. Unless the other team is just stupid, or you have like a squad locked around your flag carrier, they're probably gonna die. And so you need other team members to pick it up and carry it like Olympic torch.
Yeah, that's definitely a problem. At
So
least if they let you keep your like be able to fight yourself while carrying it, it probably wouldn't be as bad.
that's why generally in Halo, like only one flag capture the flag, because then it's like a tug of war. Like one
Yeah,
person
then it makes sense.
Yeah, then one person grabbing the flag actually makes a difference because the flag isn't just return the spawn when you sit on it.
Yeah, that's definitely a drawback of Halo's movement system.
I mean, you get a sprint too, but you can't while you flag.
Yeah.
And
Honestly, I've never been a fan of Halo's movement. It feels very clunky and glidey.
yeah, that's the way it's meant to be, right? Like it's always meant to be just like very floaty.
Yeah, I've always hated that aspect of it.
Like when you go into a grab jump, you can basically like smoke a cigarette while you're going down. Like you could literally go on a grab lift, take a cigarette out with a lighter, light the cigarette, put the lighter back in your pocket, and as you take your first puff, you're hitting the ground.
Yeah, I think it's because I started playing games like the classic Unreal Tournament and Half-Life and stuff.
Yeah, that's
That
much faster.
going to Halo, it's like, and it's not even that it's slower, it's that when I let go of the button, I still move a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, Unreal is a lot more precise too. Like you get faster movement and you have more precise movement where you can stop and turn on a dime and stuff like that. Where
Yeah.
Halo's never had a situation. It like first it's a console game, so of course it's going to. And
Hey, the first one wasn't.
well, it was developed for the Xbox first.
Really, I thought it was PC first and then Xbox.
Let's see.
I mean, I could be wrong. I never really followed its development that much.
Yeah, it was released on the Xbox first. Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
so it's always had things like auto aim, floaty movement to basically be prejudiced towards console players, right? To keep them balanced and make that flow a little better.
Well, and the floaty movement probably didn't feel as terrible on a controller as it did on a keyboard and mouse.
Oh yeah, it definitely doesn't. Like I played Halo on the Xbox for years and like you just kind of get you even then though with the keyboard and mouse, you just kind of get used to it. It's a weird thing. But then again, I'm just used to the timing of each unique game. Like my when I play Overwatch, for example, not that I do anymore, but like if I were to play Overwatch, how I play Tracer would be different than how I play like Halo. But
Yeah, no, I get it. It's just the particular way their movement system works rubs me the wrong way.
yeah, yeah, it could be a little better, but it's a free beta, so what do you expect, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I
fun.
mean, and it is a beta, so they're trying to look for problems and fix them. So it's possible if they discover some of these are a actual problem, they'll do something.
It's the most fun I've had playing multiplayer Halo in a good bit, so I can't complain.
Oh, that's good.
Like playing the Hate Master Chief Collection kind of sucks because everyone's playing on a controller with auto aim.
Yeah.
Where it doesn't feel like that with this, so yeah, that's a
I
problem.
vote we remove auto aim from consoles.
Yeah, I mean,
No
I
more aim assist.
I mean,
They want to be. Oh, go ahead.
I don't mind it in like GTA, but yeah, not in Halo. But they
Honestly, in GTA, I have found manually aiming to be faster anyway, and you can do it from a much longer distance.
I've always used a mix of both, to be honest. Like snap aiming is just too strong to not have because what
Yeah, I found, especially against the AI, the speed for snap aiming isn't that much better than my headshot speed normally. I mean, through average play, not like competitively trying to gun another player down.
yeah, I've just done it for so long that it's uncomparable for me. Like I can just it's literally just like a left trigger and a snap of the right thumbstick and I'm at your head and you're dead. I like it's us GTA 4 did this to me really because he had multiplayer and it was I only played it on the console, so I would run around with the pistol and just headshot people because one headshot was just a kill. You would die.
Yeah.
And so, and no matter what people had, I would just shoot them in the fucking face and they're dead. Like car crash or car chase, shoot you in the face, you're dead. I'm pretty sure that's why they took off the lock on in vehicles in 5.
Probably.
Because that made it a little too easy just to gat someone right from fucking behind.
That being said, aiming with the mouse, I've been able to do it a shit ton of
Oh,
times.
yeah. I mean, even aiming with the controller, right? Because all you need is like very minute aim. So I've done some stupid shit like that too, but yeah, just 4 had the snap aim that made the addiction.
I will say my favorite trick to do, and I haven't played enough, so it probably would take practice, but it's to do a 180 in the car, like in an action movie. Keep going, driving backwards now that I've done the 180. Shoot the person behind me and then do another 180.
I've done that, but shoot the person in front of me. Or, well, technically they're behind you now, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you face them, shoot them, and then do the 180 again to keep going.
I didn't do the 180, I just kept going backwards and then do a flip, and then I just go from there.
Yeah, usually off a cliff. I've seen you driving.
Hey, look, if you gotta take risks to get away.
But yeah, it's good fun.
I just go the routes the cops will not.
So, you got anything else for us?
Well, I do have stuff about the GTA trilogy, but we're running at almost 3 hours, so I'll let you decide if we go over that.
We probably shouldn't, because I have to get up in about 4
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah, that's what I figured, so I figured I'd leave it up to you. We can save it for next week.
Sounds good.
Okay. Oh, well, we got one more thing, technically.
Oh,
It won't
damn
take...
it, right after I hit stop recording. I see how this
So-
is.
Sorry, it was the WoW thing, the... Let's see. It's
Oh,
her...
was it that cutscene you mentioned?
Yeah. Well, we can go over this next time. We'll open it with next time.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what in the hell I'm supposed to fix tomorrow, but I'm fixing something on a computer. Oh, yeah, they wanted me to pull up camera footage for them on their security system. One of the businesses here. Never used their security system, so this will be an interesting one.
Let's see. Oh. Or is the actual fucking OBS thing? I don't know where it is. Oh, here it is. Okay. You will not be able to